Hi, I'm Matt from Ludovox, and today we are in the RS booth with Sven. Hi, Sven.
Hi, Matt.
Are you fine? Do you enjoy the show so far?
I'm enjoying the show at this moment very much, yeah.
And we are with a new RS game, which is Behind the Throne. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, plays for 45 minutes, you told me, and for ages 10 and up.
Yeah, sure. It's a little competitive game, but regular size, about age of 10 upwards, yeah.
So what is the object of the game? What do we try to do?
The object is you got 9 different characters which are influencing the throne, and you want to gain influence. So you have to use these cards to build up your influence. The game regularly starts by collecting cards and competing with other players.
So how do we win the game?
You win the game by victory points. To gain victory points, you use these cards in your stack. You are able to stack up to 5 cards in 5 slots in front of you. So each round in each round you're able to gain up to 1 to 5 cards.
Okay, and how do we play our turn? We draw cards? Are there any rules? I see that we kind of have a few different powers in the cards.
Correct. So basically a round is about drawing cards from the stockpile. We got a graveyard. The raven is very important because it determines the end of the game. So when the first stack is depleted, it is shuffled back in. And if you draw the raven, the game is over and you're counting your victory points. To gain victory points, you have to use the different characters. You have to collect at least 2 of each cards to gain the printed victory points. You mentioned the abilities. You get 3 different classes. For example, 1 to 5 are the manipulative ones. So you gain influence on the game, but you gain less victory points. The protective cards are protecting your own hand. And the king and the queen are a bit hindering. So they give very much points, but blocking your hand and your ability set.
Okay, so you mentioned the hand, so how many cards do we have?
In your hand, from 1 to 25 in front of you, every time displayed. And you're playing by only picking cards from top. So at this moment I draw a king with a 9. And what's important is I have to draw in a decreasing number. So the next card have to be the same or a lesser number that I may continue. If I draw a higher number, then the last card is my turn ends immediately. And all the cards are lost and going to the graveyard. So at this point I get the 9. I continue with a 5. It's a card in the medium. So now I probably play safe and decide I put this in my stack. So I start with a 9 and a 5. Now it would be your turn.
So let me check. I'm going to draw a 9. I'm going to continue. I have a 1, so I have to stop. Let's pretend it wasn't a 1. Let's pretend it was like a 5, like you. So I could play it safe like you or continue and discard everything because it's a 1. And that would bleed the game clock quite severely, right?
Exactly. So you now, after the first turn, you want to build up more of the cards. For example, I got this judge. This judge at this moment in the game is not very powerful. The judge relies on the manipulative cards. For himself is very manipulative because he copies the ability of other cards. Because every ability, for example, decreasing a value by -3, -2,
-1,
minus or +1, correct. I only may use 1 time in a turn, but only if I am the player with most of these cards. So let's make a guess. I got one of these jokers in my stock, and you would have two. I'm not allowed two of these ones. I wouldn't be allowed to use the ability. Or let's...
These were not
assassin,
threes.
use assassin. So for this guess, I wouldn't be allowed to decrease a drawn number by 9. So let's check. It's a 4. It's a 1. I wouldn't continue usually, but now we gotta want to show something different. But if I draw the same number in a second time, I may kill one of your cards. If this would be my hand, I choose the 4 to kill. Why? Because you got 2 times the assassin and gain 4 victory points in the end of the game. So I steal you 4 victory points from your hand. And now we are even. We got a tie on the assassin, so I'm now allowed to use the decreasing ability.
Even more, you could take these cards, so I would be forbidden to use it.
Then you may not use your ability because I got the most influence on the assassin. Yeah.
Okay, so with the control cards, I think we've got it. So how do we defend?
The defense is very easy because every defense card is on a different stack. We got the kill of cards. There's this Plague Bringer. He's the first target. For example, if I draw 2 4s, 2 assassins, and you would have the Plague Bringer in your deck, then I'm not allowed to kill any other card than the Plague Bringer. Same as there's ability to swap cards. When I draw this one, with 1 Destine in your deck, there's a Bard who saves swapping. They jump in between and take the catch.
Yeah, what about the aggressive one?
They're not aggressive, they're a bit hindering. The king and the queen, they're the most influence and more valuable persons on the court. So the king and the queen distance got the same influence symbol like killing and switching. But you have to draw a huge number of cards to kill or swap with your enemy. For example, at the queen, if you got 3 queens in your deck, you have to draw a number of at least 4 cards to kill another card by another player. So you gain a huge amount of victory points, but it's harder to kill and to influence other people.
So these are worth a lot of points, but they make your game harder, basically.
They make your game hard, basically, and it's the basic trick on the game. So you have to mix a couple of manipulative abilities, a bit of protection, and a bit of victory points.
And you told me that we had like maximum 5 cards per stack, right?
Correct. 5 different of these cards in your personal stock. And if you're drawing another card during your turn, and you already have 5 different cards, you're allowed to discard one of your piles if you think, yeah, I need this assassin and I want to get rid of the judge.
Okay, I think we have everything, Sven. Thank you very much for that overview of Behind the Throne. Bye-bye, and see you on Nudvox.
Taram,